2,
1.
Untap.
Welcome back to MTGYou, the Magic the Gathering podcast for you. I'm James.
Wait, bread makes you fat? I'm Rich.
I even go kill submarine. I'm Damon.
It's Thursday, the 30th of October, 2014. We're coming to you live from Studio U. Thanks for joining us. This is episode 57.
Upkeep.
And if you noticed, no Blades.
Yeah, it's his birthday today.
He kind of warned us last week. He gave us a heads up. He said it might not happen. It's his birthday. And someone else has a birthday. Happy birthday, Blades, by the way.
Happy
Don't want to
birthday.
forget that. Happy birthday to you.
Expulsion from your...
Huh?
Nothing.
Happy expulsion from your mother's womb day. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say uterus, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was born, I was so upset I didn't talk for a year and a half.
Traumatic experience.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
I still have a scar from mine.
but somebody else is having a birthday.
Right.
Oh,
It's
tomorrow.
yeah,
Rich's
I do.
birthday tomorrow.
Yeah.
Me and Blades are almost like twinners.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the birthday-ween.
Yeah. It's the Halloween special. Thanks for joining us.
It is the Halloween special. I'm
Yeah,
very excited.
Last year we did a Halloween special. This is our Halloween special this year, and we're talking about scary things.
So spooky.
Trick or cheat
Trick
is
or
what we're
cheat.
calling it. Anyway, what's in the news this week?
Well-
Go ahead.
So that's like the whole cheat thing, right? I guess if any of you guys have been paying attention to Twitter or Reddit or any of the social media in the Magic community, you have seen that there's been some really interesting controversy going on, and we kind of talked about it a little bit last week. We're just going to kind of highlight it again this week more.
But more for like if you're playing against somebody you suspect is cheating, right?
Right.
Especially last week, it was unconfirmed.
Right.
It's now confirmed.
It's now
We've had two
with
bans
this
that have been
6-year ban.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Burton Cheaty and Mr.
Burton Cheaty.
Yeah. and Humphreys.
Humphreys, yes.
Yeah.
Names have been named. Mics have been dropped. Not
right.
really. There's some nice mics. James bought them. I don't want to ruin them.
Yeah, they're
They're not. They're actually pretty cheap, but they sound
They
actually
sound-
really good.
I like them.
cheap.
I got
a
like
figurative term.
What did I get? No, I got like 3 mics for $40 or something.
Oh, that's
like
not
that.
bad.
I
That's
know
like
it.
steal
They're
of a deal.
It's for how they sound. They're excellent mics.
Well,
so.
you need to buy
I-
one that we could turn the talent up a little bit more.
That is
on
going to
this
cost a
end.
lot.
Maybe a whole new body
Yeah.
in person to stand here instead. So anyway, like I guess what happened is that these players had gotten there's been some issue with some of them in the past, I guess, but basically what happened.
Yeah, Burton Cheaty
was-
just got off of a ban.
Right.
Like a year and a half ago or
and
something.
they keep doing it on camera, and that's kind of what happened. They were playing in a Star City Games event, I think, or something like that.
Ye-
Or
Well, yeah, I mean, the Burton Cheaty thing was a little bit different. The Humphreys one was really kind of the whole
I just
under shuffling thing, right?
I wonder if they just do it to see if they can get away with it. I
I'd-
mean,
I mean,
sometimes
well,
that's
I think like you get away with it, and then you think like nobody's gonna catch you, right?
I guess because I mean that's what the story with some shoplifters. You know, they do it just to see if they can do it.
to get the thrill or the
I
high,
guess,
right?
maybe
yeah,
that's-
maybe get the adrenaline rush going on. I don't know,
I-
but like,
Can I sidetrack for just a half second? I'm so
Sure.
sorry. So this is super just like within the last month and a half, I work in the psych ward, and I may or may not have ran into a guy that compulsively steals things. And like, you know, when you're in the psych ward, they have you like work on things and journal and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And during his journaling time, he just made shopping lists of things he was going to steal when he got out.
and then I'll go to Target, and then I'll go to AutoZone.
Yeah,
This is
it was
my
actually
this
incredible.
is my. I wonder if I should do that face. What
So
would I
is
steal?
that like having a hit list? or
I
like
mean, kind of just for nice things you want.
like, oh, nice
from,
nice
So
shopping
here in
list.
Utah,
Yeah.
somebody this week stole a front end loader, and
Really?
then used that to try to steal an ATM.
Like took it away.
Tried to didn't.
Didn't work out good.
But it reminded me of a childhood friend.
Knowing Utah though, they probably would go help him.
No,
like,
no.
sorry.
hey man, I noticed you were having trouble with
But
this
I
ATM.
wanted to say it made me think of a childhood friend of mine that stole a semi and pulled it up to the stole a truck and pulled it up to the high school and started loading the band equipment into it. That's when at that stage he got caught, and I was just been thinking, I wonder if that was him.
Wow.
Because he's been in and out of jail ever
Is
since.
the IQ pool low, or
I don't know. Anyway,
And that's what we covered this week on cheating in MTG. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. But yeah, anyways, the whole top shuffling thing, it's super crazy. Did we have an ability to like show off that
roll
GIF?
tape?
I do, but we're gonna do it now.
Yeah, well, we're talking about it now. So.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So
right.
I guess what happened was that like Humphreys has gotten in trouble for stacking basically his opponent's deck. And the thing is, like, there wasn't any evidence because nobody caught him at any of the tournaments, right?
Mhm.
And now that everything's getting streamed, everything's getting posted online.
And we get a test.
Got
you can make
video-
mistakes on streams.
Yes, you can. Mucho mistakes must be made. They now with the technology though, like we've been able to go back and you can look and see, slow motion these players doing this. And
you ready?
The stuff got sent into DCI and they had a board of judges look
Come
over
on.
it and they gave the
I thought
verdict.
I had this working.
So,
Oh, there it is.
There we go. So if you watch on the lower left, and this is super exciting for podcast land.
In the lower left, it shows the overhead view, and you can also see it on the upper right where you see Trevor Humphreys slow motion shuffling here, and he's trying to look away because people follow eye movement, and so if he's not looking, then people won't watch him, and so it doesn't really look like he's trying to. I think he's just looking out of the corner of his eye so that it doesn't look like. Right.
No, like usually when you
right
shuffle,
here,
you like look away, but
he
he's just
opens
like
the card.
scan.
In fact, you can see. I mean, if you had you could almost tell what card that is right from this crap.
Right, yeah.
And
Right.
so then he shuffles that to the top. He keeps it on the top.
Right, any non-land card just pushes it to the top.
And yeah, there's video proof of the other guy doing it, but we don't have it here. I mean, I'm sure that James could probably look it up, but
I haven't found it. This is the only one I
We did this
had
really
time to
quickly.
really
We're like,
look
oh,
up.
we could show this on stream.
Yeah.
But so the other thing is too. Wow, what was I gonna say?
I don't know.
There's also a really cool YouTube video there's a few of them, but there's one that I really liked that showed this guy.
Who's good at this, right?
Who's good? Well, yeah, and he was talking about how to spot it and what to do. And during this little short segment, he said, "Now I've done this a couple of times, and I watched carefully, and I just took him for his word. I watched him carefully. He did it 8 times during this."
Just this 5-second shuffle
Well,
thing.
it wasn't 5 seconds, but it was while he was talking.
Well, a lot of people like shuffle and
He
shuffle
was,
and shuffle,
He was just
right?
claiming that he'd only done it a couple of times, but if you watched carefully, he'd actually done it 8 times.
Wow.
And so when he showed all the top 7 cards, they were all, spells.
Like,
so
yeah, or all.
I'll try to
lands
put
or
a
whatever.
link to that in the show notes because I thought that was a good resource to be able to watch.
Right, which is, I mean, okay, so that was the thing. Like, one of these guys, I can't remember which one it was, basically sent out a tweet last week, at the very end of last week over the weekend or something like that. And basically was just kind of just ridiculing all of the people that
We're freaking out.
and talking about it on Reddit and Twitter and basically, going, hey, guy, you're doing this. And he's like, and he said, hey, I'm human, blah, 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 blah. We all make mistakes. It's just a freaking card game, blah, like a bunch of desk jockeys, like, shut up kind of thing, and
Basically, are we human or are we cheaters?
you kill me. Wow,
Anyways.
so the killers, if nobody got that reference.
Right.
I know. Anyway, so
You should say killer me. Anyways.
you killer me.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
Well.
Beating jokes on the ground. So he just kind of came out and basically just ridiculed all the people that were ridiculing him, I guess, and it made me think like if you go to World Series poker event or even to a high stakes poker event and you're caught cheating, what happens to you?
I mean, if
And
you're
if
if you're on TV at an official event, that's good.
TV official event.
You get your hands cut
Like
off?
no, hold on, we're getting there, James.
Oh,
I wanted to make the reference, but hold on. So
You do get your hands cut off?
maybe I don't know, but if you're doing it in front of a live audience or a crowd or whatever like that, what happens to your professional career? You know what I mean? As a poker player, you play this professionally. What happens to your career after that? It affects you and your livelihood, right? I mean, some of these players that have been caught cheating have made tons of money playing this card game, Magic the Gathering, right? And imagine
But,
how
like,
much money
if
the
you're in
poker players
Vegas-
make. Yeah, but if you're in like Vegas or like somewhere in Nevada, like Elko or something,
Doesn't
you're
always
playing
just
in a
affect your
casino.
livelihood, right?
Yeah, and you're playing in. Now, I'm not saying that casinos do this; it's just speculation here. I'm adding conjecture, but if you get caught in a casino cheating at blackjack, you know what I mean? Maybe you might not walk out of the front door anytime soon, right? Like, who knows what's going to happen?
I saw that movie.
It's still a
about
card game.
21 cheaters.
We're still playing with, yeah, right.
Yeah.
We're still playing for money, technically, kind of, or product or whatever. And the fact that, it's okay to cheat at this game. It's just a card game. I mean, like, that's like saying poker's just a card game. Now, it is. But, you know what I mean? To some of these people, this is their livelihood. This is how they make money,
Well, and again, if you're going to go ahead and, like, downplay it and say, well, it's just a card game, well, then really, like, it's just something so small that you're going to, like, ruin your character over?
Right, yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, no, it's fine. It's just a card game. And
Kyle-
I'm just going to show off that I'm an idiot
Kyle
for
with a
it, so-
smile in the chat room says, like you have to practice so much to cheat like that.
Yeah,
Why not
it's very impressive.
put that much effort toward
Learning to play this game effectively.
getting better at Magic?
Yeah, but it's really, really tough to beat your opponent when they have 7 cards every turn. It's so much harder. They just started every game off with 5 cards, and you could have 7. It really increases your win rate.
You're just giving them a handicap, right? Like, I mean, anyway.
Anyways,
yeah.
Anyway,
So
is that enough of that? Or
I think so.
Okay.
get your
So-
hands chopped off.
Also, in other news,
Yeah, bad news we heard this week from
yes.
the
the Brew Box.
The Brew Box.
We were kind of like pimping their product for a little while.
Yeah, they made an announcement, and I
guess
have that right
the
here.
co-owner.
Yeah.
Are you
My
guys
mouse
going to
isn't
read
working
it, or are we
very
just
good.
going to go over it real quick?
Well, I wasn't going to read the whole thing, but
Right.
basically, due to health problems, they're stopping that, and I'm really sad because I was looking forward to actually maybe starting that up. So, I guess there's other Brew Box type things out there. I'm gonna have to look into some other ones. Maybe someone will pick up the mantle and move forward with this. I would hope so.
Right.
Anyway,
In other news, we're excited to be just talking about the near release of the new Commander decks.
The new Commander decks, yeah.
And we're actually going to be spending all next week's podcast.
Yes. So we're gonna lightly, quickly just go sweet, awesome, cool new Planeswalkers. Woo.
Right. We got Planeswalkers, we play as Commanders.
Do you have the one thing though? Like, for those of you who have not heard, spoiler. Stoneforge Mystic, her name is Nahiri, and she's actually going to be the white Planeswalker, which is cool because she's the Lithomancer that we've been waiting for.
Right.
With the
It
story
completes
of
the story
Eugen
with the
and-
Eugen. Yeah.
Yep, and with Sarkon and the Eldrazi. So if there's actually a really cool article on the Mothership that who was it that wrote it? I can't remember his name right now.
Was it Rosewater or was somebody else?
No, it wasn't Maro introduced the topic, and then somebody else did all the flavoring of it. But yeah, like there's a really cool article just kind of introducing her and stuff like that, and going into her history and why she's here and all this stuff. So it's really cool. I'm excited.
No, guys, we didn't screw up on Stoneforge Mystic. We meant to create a bannable card because we're introducing the Lithomancer.
The Lithomancer, yeah. She's banned now because she was a Planeswalker, I guess. But then there's the red guy too. I can't remember his name. He's a goblin.
Oh, he's like
Planeswalker.
the Scrapper Savant
Guys, kind of, yeah.
or something.
Scabbard? I don't know, something.
See, we don't know them now because we're going to know it next
We're going to
week.
talk about it next week.
Anyways, with potential guests, we're excited for that as well.
that's right.
So, anyways,
And just by way of also pointing you to the website, our own Pop Culture wrote an article this week on cheating too that is pretty good. So go check that out.
Cheating is bad. Okay.
No, it's what was that? Where is that? Anyway, cheating on Magic, you've got to be kidding me. That is the name of the article.
Gotcha.
And I did a really cool piece of artwork with pants on fire, which I know is a reference to lying, but I figure lying and cheating
they go hand in hand.
kind of the
They're
same
brothers
thing.
from another mother.
That's right. So I
Bad
have this
things to
really
do.
cool pants on fire graphic that I probably spent too much time making. So anyway, go check that out. And
He just really likes detailing.
Moving
guys.
along.
moving along.
Draw step.
Man, that took a long time. I think
fine.
this computer's having a hard time today. First up, we have. Let's see if I can.
Reach.
It was Duretti Scrap Savant.
Duretti scrap. See, I knew it was like something about scrap metal.
Thanks, Monkey.
There it is. Knight of the Reliquary. Reliquary?
Yeah, Knigget of really white query.
Reliquary.
Knigget of the really white
Knigget?
query.
Knigget.
What?
Knigget.
The
It's just
right one?
no.
That's
Sorry,
right.
sorry.
I'm purposely
Knigget is a terrible way to pronounce the word knight.
Knight. Yeah.
That is all.
Knigget.
Yes.
Okay. For one colorless, one green, and one white, you get a 2/2 rare creature, human knight, with a ability text. Knight of the Reliquary gets +1/+1 for each land card in your graveyard. Tap, sacrifice a forest or plain, search your library for a land card, put it into play, then shuffle your library.
So this week we got to play some Legacy, which was super freaking exciting, and I played Maverick.
But we didn't know what we were doing, so it was scary.
Right, it was scary.
It was scary to me, dude. I had no idea what was going on. Anyways,
It was. I know. It was fun.
How did it get its name Maverick? I didn't ask that.
I don't know.
Okay. Well.
just what you call the red white deck.
I guess maybe the guy who played it like Top Gun. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sure there's
Goose.
probably an article somewhere that's what I mean explains why it's called
Alright.
Maverick. But basically it's just green white and then they splash black for death rate and the thought seizes usually. But the cool thing is with this guy, so I like him even in modern. Like I know Kibler's a huge fan of the Knight of the Reliquary because like your fetch lands make it huge, make it bigger, so you can play 3 mana for like a 6/6 or 7/7, and it continuously grows. And the cool thing is it enables you to be able to play like kind of a toolbox of land cards. I mean, you can go find your Urborg or your Temple Garden or your Bayou
or your wastelands.
Or your Karakas, or your Gaia's Cradles, or whatever. You can go find all of the cards. Bajuka Bog. I mean, like, there's so many awesome, cool cards out there that this guy kind of can just go find any kind of mana ramps you to just a little bit because you can tap the land, add the mana, and then crack it with the Knight. So, and so it's just one of those really, really just kind of powerhouse cards for Legacy, which just seems really weird, but it's more because of the toolbox effect, and that can get really, really big really fast.
So Wampus says a reliquary is where you keep relics.
Right.
Okay.
It's like where you hide stuff.
Also, Sinorithera the priest says it's a Top Gun reference. Basically, the guy who played it said that it
surprised
Yeah,
people
what
what
you
it
could
could
do.
do.
It would surprise people. with
That's
it
what I
could do.
thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was a Top Gun reference, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I
Yeah.
wasn't going to point in on
Yeah.
that. So
Okay.
that's my card. It's freaking sweet.
Moving along.
Moving along. I'm so glad that we don't have that in the
In the what?
that we don't have the chat room on the
Sometimes
screen
chat
anymore.
is amazing, but sometimes it's good it doesn't make it to YouTube.
That's right. And your card. What was your card?
My card is Treasure Cruise.
Let's see if I can
Because,
find it.
guys, Ancestral Recall is a thing.
At instant speed, right, Damon?
Always at instant speed. Oh, my gosh.
We were playing, and Damon decided to try to Treasure Cruise at the end of my turn.
Yeah, I mean, end of turn Treasure Cruise seems way better, right?
Hopefully you quicken.
So
and then
Treasure
you
Cruise.
can eat the quicken to help your Treasure Cruise.
Exactly.
7 colorless.
You draw 4 cards.
Treasure Cruise, 7 colorless, and a blue for a common sorcery. It has Delve. Draw 3 cards. So you Delve, you get to, well, everybody knows what it does, so it's fine.
Yeah, you get rid of cards in your graveyard
Right.
to help pay for the mana costs. So really, this is just blue, draw 3 cards.
It's the party cruise.
Yep.
It really is. So
Can
I
we
played.
call it the booze cruise? From this moment on.
Okay, I'm down with it.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the thing.
Because why not?
Because you don't want to take just one drink. You want to take 3. I don't know.
3, okay.
Anyways, if one is good, 3 is better. Anyways, so for Treasure Cruise, though, in the Delver deck, where it plays tons of instants and sorceries and a lot of like cantrips, you can just cycle through cards and dump them in your. Like, I cast 2 Treasure Cruises in the same game, and it's Delver. Like, we're kind of an aggro deck. Like, we're aggro tempo, right? And
when you're only running 16 lands.
yeah,
This
it
helps you get there.
But anyways, what's really cool about the Legacy Blue-Red Delver deck is I've been wanting to try out the Blue-Red Modern Delver, and
They're kind of almost the same thing.
I mean, minus Force of Will and Brainstorm
Days
and Days,
and Ponder.
which again are very good cards.
half of the deck list, I guess. But
Well, I mean, the creature base is the exact
yeah,
same,
yeah.
and like you're playing just slightly worse versions of like those cards, right?
Right.
So, I mean, you don't get like Force of Will, but like you get Mana Leak, I guess.
Remand.
I mean, so again, not as good, but Treasure Cruise is the truth. It really does get there. And like I've been seeing both in Legacy and in Modern, certain decks are like splashing blue just to play Treasure Cruise now. Which makes me wonder if it really is up for ban. Like I heard whisperings of this.
They might, if they do ban it in Modern, it'll be because of the Just Guy Ascendancy deck, and that'll probably be the only reason. Because other than that, I mean, it's 8 mana. It's pretty fair to an extent. I mean, like, and I say that, and there's gonna be a lot of people in chat who are like, "What?" But I mean, like,
So
I don't
fair.
see, like me. I'm a Dig Through Time guy. I like Dig Through Time better personally, but I'm also not a blue aggro player. So
Right.
like Treasure Cruise. Is
Sometimes
better
you
than
want
others.
card quantity, and other times you want card quality.
Yeah, I'm a quality guy.
Yeah. So, anyways, it was fun. I've never cast Treasure Cruise until today, and it was the truth. So, it was lots of fun.
So, and to keep with the Legacy theme of what we're doing, I can't remember if mine was...
Well, so I just gave you the card that seemed to be more fun. That's all.
Was it Forked Bolt? Or
Well, Forked Bolt was what you said, but I
Oh.
threw the other one on there.
You wanted that one. What was it?
Price of
Progress.
Price. Oh, that one was fun. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was so fun during that.
It ends games, it turns
This
out.
is so fun. Price of Progress, 1 colorless and 1 red for an instant. Price of Progress deals 2 damage to each player for each non-basic land he or she controls. Actually, I love this. This is so
I may
cool.
or may not have done 8 damage to Rich for 2 mana.
This is kind of the card that a red player wants to play anyway, because a lot of times when I'm playing
play
Red
mono
Burn, why do you need all those non-basic lands? So you just kind of
Basic
like,
Mountain's pretty good sometimes.
forget you. I'm just going to...
Yeah, like that's like the worst play ever in Legacy sometimes. Like turn 1 mountain, and you're like, I'm playing a fair deck. Crap. Because of stuff like that.
Yep.
But
Anyway, so
really
that's
good in
that.
EDH too, if you're playing mono red EDH.
Totally. Still working on building that deck. We'll see.
It's all good.
Super duper.
Okay, moving along.
Woohoo!
Main phase.
And here we are in the main phase. Welcome to the main phase, everyone. Here we are. Today, trick or cheat. We've already talked about the cheating, but we want to get into some spooky stories, some scary things.
Right.
Things that make you go,
Or not so much.
Where do we start?
I think, well, let's just go ahead and touch on, because we talked about our current day famous cheaters that we have before us. But we haven't really had a chance to talk about, like, what happens if somebody's cheating against you or you suspect them of cheating.
Right.
Because that's a moment where you're like, God, I don't know if do I just look this man in the eye and be like, stop cheating, you son of a gun?
Slap in their hand.
Or like, do you take their deck and throw it at their face? Or do you call the judge and ask to talk away from the table?
I prefer table flip. Just kidding.
Someone
Heads or
has-
tails?
So you're playing sealed and someone has 7 mythics in their deck.
Right, pretty rough.
Yeah.
I don't know, Rich, have you ever been cheated against? Like, watched cheating happening in front of you or
Like,
supposed cheating?
Yeah, like more so in EDH, which is a format. Like, I'm sorry, but if you're cheating in EDH, you're trying too hard. But
Hey, this format has no stakes and is just for fun. Sweet, I'm gonna cheat, bro.
I'm going to totally cheat.
the thing is, like, at least in like locally, we don't have a whole lot of like. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of cheaters out there, right? Just in general. But like, the times I've seen people like try to cheat against me, it's been like they shuffle my deck and they're looking away, and then they'll sit there and they'll look at it for a second while they're shuffling, and I'm like, "Excuse me, sir, can you please not look at my deck when you're shuffling it?" And they're like, "Oh, sorry," and they'll start shuffling.
And then Damon says...
And eventually, like, it's got to the point where I'm like, all right, cool, man. Like, you're obviously stacking my deck. Judge, can you please randomize my deck for me? And then the judge will do it. And then you're like, hey, cool, thanks. And then you get your deck and it's cut already and good to go.
So it's really rough because sometimes you're playing against somebody who is a new player or like an apparent new player. And you're like, God, I don't know if you're cheating or if you're actually just really stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I have unfortunately run into that before where like, because the steps. I mean, hey, if you listen to our podcast, you know the steps of every turn.
Yeah, no, like when they untap, they're like, okay, cool, play this. Oh, I forgot to draw my card. Draw. And you're like, did you just draw 2 cards, or is that just the one for
Right.
your turn?
So like, what would like there was these like new guys, and I'm positive it's just because they were new and didn't know what they were doing, but it was very frustrating because they'd be like, all right, I'm like, okay, pass turn, and they'd be like, okay, draw a card, and play this and tap my lands. Oh wait, I gotta untap them first. I've untapped my lands, draw a card, And and like pretty soon I'm looking at it, I'm like, you have 8 freaking cards in your hand, and it's like turn 8, and I have 2. Stop cheating. If you do it again, I'm calling. I am the judge at this event. You're gonna lose the game.
Or they do like the
Cut it
super
out.
slide. Like imagine these are the cards in my hand, and they do like the super slide, like looking at their hand, and then they're just like, and they're like, they pull the card up from like their lap up into their hand, and you're like, dude, it's got a purple sleeve. If you're gonna cheat, at least make sure you have like the right colored sleeves, man. Like,
Right.
But like people do that too, and like at that point, you can actually do you can count cards.
Yes.
Based on like spells and stuff like that. If any questions like that, just call your judge over, or like, or step up and go. Excuse me for a second, and go talk to the judge.
If I've drawn a card, I usually try to count the turns and try to figure it out. If I can't figure it out, I just forget it. I mean, because that's my own fault.
Right. That's actually a really fast way of counting up traumatize. For those of you that play traumatize or tired of like counting your opponent's deck, just count. Like, you have 60 cards in your deck. Yeah. Count up how many like permanents they have, how many cards on the hand, how many cards in the graveyard, and then just 60 minus that is their deck. It's a lot easier. Anyway, I digress. Sidetracking. But like if you ever have a problem or a question about like somebody cheating or potentially cheating, you know what I mean, you can either call a judge over, and now granted you don't want to do it right to their face, obviously.
Right. Can I please speak to you? I have a question about this interaction. I'm not really sure about.
He's cheating. Yeah, you don't want to do that because then you're drawing attention to it. Now, of course, he or she is not going to cheat after that. So what you want to do is you just want to be like, judge, and be like, can I stop? Can I talk to you for a second away from the table? And they usually are pretty understanding with that because maybe you're going to talk about cards in your hand or whatever, right? You just pull them aside and be like, hey, I'm suspecting of my opponent cheating, and this is what they're doing, blah, 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 blah. We've talked about this, I think, with Jeremy in the past.
Right.
And then the judge would typically sit there and watch a couple...
From afar.
You know what I mean? Or, like, well, he might just, like, watch for, like, the last turn or whatever, or go walk away, kind of watch and see if anything's happening or any tricky business, and check out on you, so... And then that way, if they can catch him in the act, I mean, that's game losses or even getting disqualified for tournaments, I think, at a certain point. But,
yep. Well, that was a very good, scary situation.
Well, no, is there more, though, like with the cheatings? What other ways do people usually cheat? I mean,
the way I've been
playing 5 of something.
Just like tapping land wrong. I've seen that a ton with people that are just like, they think they can get away with things just by like.
Well, sometimes you're forgetful too, right?
No, I'm talking about they know what it costs to. They don't have. They don't have enough land for the right thing or like the right color land, so they just tap it and figure you're not going to notice and play it.
There was like a famous like local cheat that happened, and it was a big deal.
Lurgen says cheating is just a DQ, automatic DQ. So.
Yeah.
Good to know. Don't cheat. You won't get disqualified or ridiculed on Reddit.
Back in the Thragtusk days, there was like a big, like a state championship deal or whatever locally. And like it was game 3, so it was known that like they were playing Thragtusks. And like they tapped 5 lands and played Thragtusk, but like no green source. And then passed turn, the next person started their turn. And then it was an irreparable game state.
Right.
And you can't prove that the person like just totally spaced they didn't have green sources, and so it's just a warning, and like everybody got super salty about that. Anyways, that was.
I guess realistically, if you suspect somebody is cheating or have any questions about if somebody's cheating or what to do, just literally just talk to your LGS judge. And if it's at home playing with your friends, just slap your crap out of your friend. You're cheating in my house. Trying to think of other things that people can do. There's a lot of chats blowing up right now with it, so
I don't know. I think that like if you can imagine a way like, man, it would be really nice if blah was true in Magic. That's probably a way you can figure out to try to cheat that into actually happening, right?
Right. Well, and like there's other things too, like people they've done the whole like not making targeted, the famous Esper charm shenanigans. There was a pro and somebody else playing. I don't know if it was 2 pros or 1 pro and some like kind of no-named guy. They were playing, and the guy's like Esper Charm, and and something happened, and he didn't say like discard 2 cards, or that he was going to draw 2 cards, or whatever the modes are in Esper Charm. So it made him like somehow the judge worked it out. So like the guy who cast Esper Charm had to discard 2 cards. And so, like, the other guy was, like, suspected cheating because he was like, dude, like, you kind of worded it around and you told the guy that he targeted himself with the discard and whatever, like, and got the judge to believe him with it and stuff. And
that is such rules lawyering.
That's basically
rules lawyering is actually a perfect example of possible cheating. I mean, there's a lot of rules, there's a lot of convoluted, weird, jargony ways of saying things, and so sometimes don't get caught up in the heat of the moment, which we're going to talk about tilting later. when you're conversing over a judge ruling with your opponent, just make sure that you kind of keep level-headed. You keep very clear in communicating, and just make sure that you can express what you're trying to say to the judge. It doesn't matter if your opponent agrees or disagrees with you. I mean, to an extent, as long as the judge understands what you're trying to say, even if your opponent's trying to split hairs with you, you know what I mean? That's probably what's important.
Well, and actually, the current one right now in Standard, of course, is like not revealing your morphs at the end.
Right.
That's a big one. So.
Yeah. And you can get
and like it's tough because that one really can be just like you spaced it, which is a bummer. But you know what always terrified me as a kid? Which should have been like they always use it as a kid's story, but like one time the whole world was bad and God got angry and he told a man to build a boat. And the man built a giant boat and invited 2 of all the different animals in the world to come live on his boat.
I hate Titanic.
And the entire world flooded, and people probably were pounding and dying on the outside of the boat as the waters rose. Noah. So the next thing we're going to talk about today is flood. What happens when you get mana flooded? Hey, man, we're talking scary stories today.
That was a scary story. I remember that. Yeah, when I was a kid, that is a scary story. Isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the incest is more scary with that story, man.
Did we have to go there? Did we
I
really have to
went
go
there? But yeah.
Okay, so
anyway, sorry for those of you who are
flooding.
Christian,
Flooding.
So why is flooding?
I just tried to think
scary?
of the scariest flood I could imagine.
That is the scariest.
I mean,
flood.
it's a worldwide
or
big
like
scary
2012 AD, they had the huge tidal wave.
Right.
You know.
Anyways,
I was
So-
always trying to imagine the whole world covered in
that's a
water,
good song,
though.
by the way. "Flood" by Jars of Clay.
So
It's a good song.
just my
wow, kicking back to old school.
Yeah,
It's like
dude,
from the
so
90s.
good. Christian rock, man. Anyway,
Yeah.
going back.
Uh,
So flooding, like when you're flooding, I don't think it's too scary depending on what point you're
Really?
in the game, man. Like,
dude, I hate it. I hate when I know like my hand is mostly land, and like I have a big guy that I feel like I should chump to protect my life total. And like, well, maybe I'll draw something. So you chump with your guy, and then you have an empty battlefield, and you're just like, land, go, get hit in the face.
It is a scary feeling when there's
Land,
just like absolutely nothing
go,
you can go do.
Get hit in the face. Land, go, hit me in the face. I don't want to get hit in the face anymore.
and then you
Big
play
scary
Seismic
drag
Assault and
shots.
you win.
I hate this
or
game.
you're playing Lands and
Anyways.
Legacy. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Like, so I guess the important thing there is to just like think about what cards you can draw to get you out of that situation, because there becomes a threshold, right? A point where you're like, nothing at top deck here is going to be able to reverse board state, right?
Well, or if I don't have this creature on the board, then for sure there's no way I can win.
Right.
Right,
Something
like your board presence becomes much more important. I feel like when you're mana flooded,
I feel
because you don't have as many spells as the other person. So like if you only have one kill spell and one creature, this happens a lot in draft. I feel like
yeah,
like that kill spell becomes super important. You really have to kill their biggest, baddest, angriest guy, and like your creature becomes very important. So, anyways, I don't know.
I see a lot of people are like, I'd rather get land. Like a lot of people say, I'd rather get land screwed than land flooded.
This is true.
And I'm like,
I don't think I want it either. I just
I don't want
it.
either. I kind of
But
agree
screwed
though.
beats flood.
Screwed usually beats flood because a card advantage is a thing, but flood is bad. Just if you're playing islands, no?
You get flooded with
Do you get
islands.
flooded more with islands than you do any other land, or is it
I
pretty
mean,
equal?
I
Well,
don't know.
swamps are pretty bad.
Sometimes
too,
the-
yeah.
Swamps would be pretty bad. Man, those
sometimes
blue-black
the-
decks, they flood so much.
I know it.
Sometimes the moon changes and there's high tides.
And there's low
and,
tide.
and the mountains even get
Yes.
flooded.
Dude, you should bring the high tides.
Huh.
Your candles.
It's candelabra.
Candelabra.
Yeah.
Huh.
No.
Legacy jokes.
Legacy jokes.
Okay. All right.
So terrible. Anyways,
That was a cunning wish.
making sure you protect your resources is a big thing when you're playing with flood. And again, guys, we're just kind of having a fun time with the spooky Halloween.
Spooky. Okay.
So one time there were these guys floating down a river, and then they were attacked by a bunch of hillbillies. And so we're going to talk about getting land screwed.
Tom Sawyer.
Anyways,
Getting land screwed. That's how you introduce it.
I think so. Anyways,
Or
so
is that
sometimes
when you're on the river and you crash? And
right,
Crash into
right,
the-
in the
South
deep
River.
south or the West
Why is it gonna be
Virginia.
the South, man?
Well, there's this famous movie. I'm not gonna name names. Anyways, so you open up your hand and you got two lands and you have a bunch of 3 drops.
Heart of Darkness. That's not a movie, but it's a book.
No, it is not a.
Joseph
There's
Conrad.
banjos.
Tom Sawyer, no.
No Deliverance. No.
Oh, no, there's some
Okay.
dollars.
Anyways,
Joke was lost on me.
so if any of you guys get there, and if I went too far, I apologize. But I thought it was maybe not funny, but it was a scary movie. Anyways, so the thing is with when you're getting mana screwed, maybe you only have one land. And you're like, man, if I ever draw this second land, this hand's going to be golden. And it just goes to show you should never keep one of the hands. But sometimes you keep a responsible 2-land hand. And if you ever draw the third, then you're golden, right? You play like
Right.
your 1-drop, and you're like, okay, I have like 2 lands and an elf. That's the one that always tricks people. Because you
Bolt your
go
bird.
land, elf, or land, bird, and then they're like, bolt your bird, and you're like, second land. And lots of 3-drops. Go.
Rip off 4-drop. Go.
It's a ramp deck, and I'm not ramping. This is awful. I hate
Yeah.
ramp decks where I'm not
You're not
ramping.
doing the ramping.
Yeah,
it seems
that is
bad.
worse. I'm so scared when this happens. Anyways.
Yeah. I don't know. Like that's a scary story, I guess.
There's nothing to fear, but
But that's when you play mono red, right? You're like, oh, this is perfect.
Right,
I
there's
should
always
play-
something to play with one land. If you're
Right.
playing the mono
You're
red.
Lightning bolt.
lightning bolt.
Anyway, I'd rather get screwed than flooded.
Sounds good.
Next,
So imagine for me, if you will, that your name is Blades. And we're like, hey, Blades, we really, the chat's been asking a whole lot for mono Blue Tron to be played for Modern because it's a semi-budget deck. A lot of people are interested in it. So, a lot of people are interested in that. And then we're just have Rich play, good old Hate Bears that just Stone Rains them a whole bunch.
Yeah. Like,
And kills all of their lands. So Tron is literally a deck that's all about lands.
right.
And Hate Bears is literally a deck that's halfway all about destroying lands.
Just Ghost Quarter. But yeah, they're
Yeah.
trying to
That
stop
is
it.
And so we
Yeah.
had that matchup happen. And we realized after we had already had the decks all made up and we're ready to start streaming,
Another way is
Blades
like,
goes, "Oh guys, I'm pretty sure this is on paper the literal worst matchup." And I feel like he did a really great job keeping his composure. And he actually picked up and won one of the games, which
it
is
was actually really
awesome.
cool to see the interactions though between the two decks.
Right.
And show the
and
contrast.
if you want to see that, go to check it out on YouTube.
Right, we do have it on
Fight Club
YouTube.
stuff on YouTube. Or better yet, when you're like, I'm playing the derp turtle deck that just tries to go to turn 8, and then I'll do this infinite cool combo that wins, and then somebody's like, turn
Mountain
1,
bolt.
mountain
Yeah,
guy, go.
Or
all you
Swiss
see is
spear.
you see the mountain.
And you're like, no, not the fun police.
That is actually the actual worst in Cube. And you're like, dude, I'm going to reanimate this cool guy and he's going to do
Yeah.
this stuff. And they're like, sweet, turn 1, Goblin Guide, punch you in the face. And you're like, oh, but I was going to, and there's going to be stuff. It's going to go off and it was going to be awesome. But yeah, sometimes you're just up against the worst matchup. And that's really, really terrible. Sometimes you're playing Mono Red Burn and the first play of the other person is a Soul Sister. And you're like, oh, you're the life gain deck then, huh?
Right, or you're like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, I'm playing
Oh.
Dredge, and they're like, turn 1, Tormod's Crypt. And you're like, no.
What's crazy is actually Tormund's Crypt is sometimes used in the current combo, the Jeskai Ascendancy combo deck.
Yeah, and it shuts off,
And,
dig through types and stuff like that.
Well, it also, because there's some really cool graveyard interactions with all the Sultai stuff, and I
Right.
can just imagine, the accidental mainboard hate that exists for, that deck. That would make me really, really sad if I showed up and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this really cool, mill myself, get value.
One of the things I hate a lot is when you're like, okay, I got a Hero's Downfall or the Doom Blade or whatever. I got the removal in my hand, and it's been 8 turns, and I'm playing against some guy. He's only cast 2 creatures, but I was able to kill him through combat damage or whatever. And they're like, okay, cool, cast this guy. He's a 4/4 or something. You're like, cool. I've never used this Hero's Downfall yet. It looks like his deck's mostly just commons and uncommons. I'm not too worried about it.
Right.
Hero's Downfall, that guy. He's like, okay, cool. And untap, do whatever. Pass turn. Cool. Elspeth. And you're like, "Duh!" I should have held it one more turn.
They saved up all their pennies and they have their one Elspeth in their deck that they drew,
Yeah, and they play
And they're just
Elspeth
like,
right
oh,
after you
this
used
card is
your
actually just
one-
going to beat you now.
Yeah, your one removal you needed for that card.
Right. I only played cards that had, it was my mono Baloth's deck, my Baloth tribal with splashing Singleton Elspeth, and now they're going to just beat you. because
Yes.
Elspeth is hilarious and beats people for no reason.
Right, or you sideboard out all of your removal because they're not playing any creatures.
Right, against a
and
control
then-
deck.
Yeah, and then they side in all of their creatures, and you're like,
Transformational.
That happened a lot when I was playing the like mono black and black green mid range decks. Was like
Right.
I had so much main board kill spells, and then then I take them all out, and then they're like Archangel through, and I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot.
I hate that worst case scenarios. And you know what else is terrible?
James, what scares you?
Getting the best hand ever that just doesn't have land.
Oh yeah, I should keep it. I should
No.
stop.
So then you're like, okay, I'm gonna be a responsible Magic player. I'm gonna mulligan this hand. And then you drop your next one, and you're like, blue spell, blue spell, blue spell, blue spell, mountain, blue spell, blue spell. Like, oh,
So it was way one too many spells.
really? Was that? I felt like I was going to 6. Was that 7?
I don't know.
Anyways, the point is, you only have like an off-color land, and you would get there if you draw your island, but all you have is mountains. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna be a responsible player, and I'm gonna mulligan again. And then you're like, 5-drop, 6-drop, 7-drop, land.
Or
and
like
you're
when
like,
you did the responsible 3-land hand with all 5 and 6 drops, and then you mulligan and you get the 1-land hand, and then you mulligan again and get all this land hands. And you're like, I should have just kept the first hand.
Right. I hate mulliganing myself into oblivion, and I think I'm probably a more aggressive mulliganer than a lot of people that I know, and it's definitely worked against me a few times. But it feels really good when you have like the mull to 5 or mull to 4, and then you come back and win. I love this
So
game.
if MTG was a haunted house,
Ooh.
what would be the equivalent of the guy that has the chainsaw running after you?
Ooh. Probably the Storm player? Right? Like you just been
you just hear this in the background. You're the.
Dun,
You're
dun, dun,
like,
dun.
I hear it, but I don't know how close it is. And then all of a sudden they pop up and
Storm
like, it's
counts
storming!
30!
You're like, oh, what the?
Run
I
away.
never
run
got
away.
scared by those ever.
Really?
No,
It's like
Okay.
it's like I tell people
I go to
though.
haunted
It's like,
houses and I just don't get scared.
I don't.
can watch
I
scary
don't
movies,
either.
don't
But
get
it's because if
scared.
you don't run, it's like I tell people, say, it's don't run, and
They take the
they
chain
can't.
off.
They can't chase you if you don't run. Of course, they can.
This is true.
So
cool story for me. When I was at the ripe old age of probably 10, you're like, all right, man, in life, I'm double digits. I can take on what's in the world. I'm
an adult, Dad.
right. So I'm with my dad, my sister and brother. They were too scared. They were too scared for the haunted house. So it's just me and my dad. And I'm kind of like tucked close a little bit, right? But I'm handling things for the most part. And then it lulls you into false sense of security. They even like turn on the lights a little bit brighter, and you're like, oh sweet, I made it to the end. This is perfect. And then I just hear and it comes on, and I'm like, whoa, that kind of like made me jump and got like the fight or flight, and my heart's beating a little bit. But then the terrible part where I smelled like the oil gas mixture of the actual engine, and my 10-year-old brain
That's
was
the
like,
whole
oh
point.
god, it's real. And like I run away and run, and it's like an indoor place on a skating rink, right? Like not ice skating, but regular like rollerblading. So I'm like running top speed. Oh my god! And I just run and keep running until I see the nearest open door. And I run into the open door and make it to the back of the room that I'm in. And I look around, and it's all bathroom stalls and not a single urinal because I've run into the women's bathroom.
Like a little girl that you were being.
Like a little girl.
one of my favorite stories of going to a haunted house was, and they always put me at the front. And the great thing about being at the front is that all of the ghouls and ghosts and zombies,
They get you first.
they go to people behind you.
Oh, really?
They know that the person in front is not scared,
Right.
and so they
Yeah, go
attack the
behind
people
you.
behind. So it's the safest place to be.
That's so funny. I'm always the last one because people are like, I want to get scared. So
So-
they go up front. I'm like, whatever. I'll just follow you guys. And so they keep trying to scare me. I'm like, dude, I'm not
So-
scared. Hey, Steve, see you in class next week. Like, you know what I mean?
So,
You're just like, whatever.
so I'm with my family, and I'm with some friends of the family of and there's one guy. He's big. He's a big guy. He's bigger than you. He's a big guy. He's
Right.
behind me, and James Jr. And they're behind me in this room, and all of a sudden I hear the chainsaw, and next thing I know, they're in front of me.
Boom.
I don't know how they
the ninja poof.
I was in a doorway, And so I don't know how they got past me. But next thing I know, they're laying on the ground in front of me, and I'm like, how did that happen? It's so funny.
That's
amazing. It was funny. Yeah.
So, you guys have been in a haunted hollow right by just up the road, right? You've been there. You know, okay. So they get this. There's this haunted house by where we live, and there's a hallway that they have, and they have a truck that they'll actually drive down the hallway chasing after you.
What?
Well,
That can't
I'm
be
that person.
safe.
I am unfazed. Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean. I'm just one of those like people. I don't know. Like, I'm not. Don't get scared. So like, I'll be walking. We were going down this path one time when we were in high school, and
went full
they
Naruto.
they started like chasing after us with like this car. It's not like a full car. Like it's like just like the front end of a car on wheels. So they're just pushing it.
Oh, okay. I
So
thought it
it's
was
not
like an actual
it's
truck.
not like an actual truck.
Okay.
No deaths will be happening with this. But it's actually the same place where Ross got his my friend got his eye punched out with his own hammer.
Right.
Oh, that we heard about last week.
Yeah, same place. Anyway, so I'm walking, and like what happened was like they because there used to be people running out of the way, right? And I didn't move. I just kept walking. So they hit me, and they like pushed me down the way a little bit. I was like, "What the heck?" And like, well, usually you're supposed to move, and I'm like, "What?" Okay, fair enough, I guess.
Rich, such a cool customer, he gets hit by cars.
It's like I don't know, but like I never got scared with the chainsaws because I grew up, in a lawn care family. So we
got chased.
My family owned a lawn business. Like we had chainsaws.
Me and my brother, we chased each other with chainsaws. It was no big
with
deal.
the blades
Yeah.
on them.
Yeah.
No, not really.
No.
But
Okay, well, let's move along
tangents.
here. That was just some real life scary stories. Of,
I think the last one actually, that's a really excellent segue because just like I got scared, ran away into the girls' bathroom. Sometimes you're in the middle of a Magic game and you make a huge misplay. Like that you want to get them with like a
Nice
Snapcaster Mage, and then you're just like, all right, flash in my Mana Leak. I mean, my Snapcaster Mage.
targeting.
So
the
I
boat.
have a Mana Leak, just so you know,
Just
for
so you
later.
know.
Right. Or like the situation when they're like, mana leak, and you're like, pay 3, and you're like, oh, you totally had that 3.
There was an elf. I forgot he's also a mana.
Right.
There's an elf there. Huh.
Yeah.
Now I just Mana Leaked the one important spell that I needed to get rid of, and I can't. And now I lose.
Or you miscount and you bolt something, you're like, I hit the wrong one, didn't I? Yeah, you targeted the wrong one. Okay.
Or, I mean, there's just so many situations where you make a mistake, and if your brain isn't in the right space, you just keep making mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. And being on tilt is really, it's not a good place to be. Furthermore, some people just get angry. Really, really angry at stuff that happens in games of Magic. I mean, not that many weeks ago, we had people literally almost come to,
fisticuffs.
fisticuffs. To put it in the old tongue. You, sir, I believe you are a brigand. I challenge you to fisticuffs in yonder parking lot. Are you mad, sir? I shall not fight you with fisticuffs in yonder parking lot. I challenge you thus to fisticuffs in the
I
parking lot.
triple dog dare you, sir.
I shall not go and play fisticuffs in the yard, sir. Yeah, no, that happened in not so many polite words.
Wait, those were polite words?
They were polite
In comparison to
what was
said.
actually happening. Yeah, no, we
Yeah.
keep it G over here.
Do
PG
we?
13-ish. Anyways,
Innuendo-ish.
only occasionally-ish. Anyways, but yeah, tilt is just bad for everybody. It's bad for you as a person who's accidentally put people on tilt before. I mean, it's hilarious to one extent.
To purposely make people on tilt.
No, just play something that shouldn't work, and then people are just I don't have a way to throw to nothingness.
Oh, yeah.
If you pull something like that off, and they're just but I'm playing a good deck with expensive cards.
I don't I think that's their problem. They're like, oh, I can't believe I died to this really janky deck, and your deck's terrible. And you're like, really? That's why it beat you? It's really grumble, grumble, grumble. I spent $5,000 on my deck, and your janky $20 deck.
So,
beat
are
my
you
deck.
more afraid of going on tilt yourself and what you might do, or the person across from you going on tilt and worrying about either A, physical violence, or B, being having them be so embarrassed that you'll because of going on tilt? You've seen that before,
Right?
People
No,
they get so embarrassed themselves that they don't. You wonder if they're ever going to show their face again.
Right. I have definitely done those really stupid mistakes before in tournaments, especially some of the bigger ones where you're just man, I screwed up so bad there, and I have to finish this game sitting in front of this person.
Mm-hmm.
That's really embarrassing. I don't know.
I tried to bolt the twice.
Once this game, once in another game. Huh.
Almost in the same turn.
Like, this card is still a sorcery, huh?
Right, Damon. It's a sorcery.
Oh, and I cannot tell you, God, first strike gets me literally all the time. I wish that I could, like, that would be the one thing I could do with Google Glasses.
Right,
if I could
on
just
your forehead.
highlight in, like, my little heads-up display, like in bright
flashing.
tiny red, this guy has freaking first strike. Do not block or attack into him.
RTFC, Damon.
Yeah, or just that, just having that on my forehead and looking in the mirror. And
There's a lot of
being
people
remember.
like, I know like John does that on occasion, like when he messes up on something, he'll write down on the card that like, he's like, on like a bolt, he'll be like, remember, pro red on card. Okay, cool. Put it back in. Like as he's like playing or whatever, messing around. It's funny. He's like, remember.
I have actually seen him pull out markers before and like mark like
well,
the front
Legolas,
side
like
of his card.
he had an elf, a Llanowar elf that he actually hooked 2 swords up to. So from that point on, even at GP, felt like he just wrote Legolas on it. So whenever he played it, he knew that was the Llanowar elf that carried 2 swords to victory.
That's amazing.
And I thought that was really awesome.
That's pretty sweet.
So I don't know, like me personally, I it takes me kind of a lot to get on tilt, but I can get on tilt pretty easy at the same time. It depends on what it is. Like for instance, like no names shall be given because I don't even know the guy's name, but we were playing I'm in a modern tournament 2 weeks ago, and
somebody just said
what's
hi.
up? Hey uglies, hey, what's up? Anyway, so
Talking to you.
he was playing
Obviously
fish.
not talking to me.
And the thing is, like, and it's a super, like, it was a $2 modern tournament, whatever. Like, I mean, the first place was going to get, like, a booster pack of cons or something stupid like that. It wasn't that big of a deal. But he's playing fish, and I forgot he turned when he had played a curse catcher. So he's got a curse catcher on the battlefield. And I'm thinking, I'm like, I got a cord calling, and I got combo on board if I cord for the Malira. So I do. And I'm not thinking, and I tap out all my lands, okay? And I tap some of my guys, you know what I mean? Cause I was getting mana scourge. I only had like 3 lands anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I go and I find the Malira, and I'm like cord calling for 2. He's like, yeah, sure, okay, like whatever. But like he didn't really say yeah,
just got
sure,
like,
like that, like yeah, like oh yeah,
like acknowledging that it was a chord, but not if it was
doing,
resolving?
no, like in response, like I went and grabbed my deck and then shuffled it, found the Malira, shuffled it up, handed it to him. I'm like, hey, and then the thing is, I didn't just go, okay, go infinite life, because I'm playing against this guy who I don't know, so I don't know if he even knows what I'm doing. And apparently he didn't know the deck.
Right.
So I started Viserys here, so I'm scrying, and I keep tucking. I'm like, gain 2 life, gain 2 life, gain 2 life, gain 2 life, because I'm going to go find the Merch Redcap to kill him next turn. And he's, and somebody walked over, and I didn't, like, I'm just here explaining, I'm like, I'll gain 2 life, and I'm scrying. That's all I'm doing. I'm not saying I go infinite. I never said that once. And somebody walks over and like, oh, you realize you wins, right? And the guy's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, okay. I'm like, so hold on. I'm like, hold on, dude. Don't say anything. We're playing, you know.
Right.
Like, so I go and I'm like, hey, cool. Merch Cap's on top. Go ahead. And he's like, wait, what happens? I'm like, okay. So basically what happens here is I'm going to go infinite. I'm going to sacrifice, Kitchen Finks, go infinite life. Infinite life. Can you kill me with infinite life? No. In response to your Cord of Calling, I'm going to Curse Snatcher and sacrifice your my Curse Snatcher to get your cord. And me, I got on tilt, and it had nothing to do with him. It had all to do with the fact that I forgot the Curse Catcher was there, and that I didn't leave up a land. So I was like, crap, and I'm an idiot. Like,
because if he was a good enough player, he would have got you.
Right. If he was a good enough player, he would have got me, and then that's fine, because then I wouldn't have died next turn, right? Like, I would have been fine, like, okay, whatever, you know what I mean, and proceed with the rest of the game. But I looked at him, I'm like, seriously, dude? He's like, well, if you're going to go infinite, yeah, I'm going to sack my Curse Catcher to get your cord. You didn't give me an opportunity to respond. And I'm like, ooh. Like,
and at that point, I watched Rich just like the old school cartoon thermometer thing. Like, he just started like red and just went up through his face. Whoop, and like it almost popped to the top. And if it had, Duder Face with his fancy fish would have been fish food. Like, it would not have been pretty. And I haven't seen it. Like, Rich, pretty cool guy. Pretty cool customer most of the time. Rich, that day, not happy.
Yeah, I wasn't happy. But the thing is, though, like, and I realized I was more mad at myself, but the thing is, I'm like,
I think I was the guy who said you go infinite.
I think you were, which didn't help me out at all either.
I'm like, oh, sweet, man. Good job. You go infinite. You won. That guy's like, what?
In response to your chord that's already happened, and we're 70 triggers away. I'm gonna do this instead. And I was pissed.
Super legal magic.
So, but anyway, my point is like, so I get on tilt, right? And he could tell I'm on tilt because his voice gets all sorts of scratchy and like kind of because he realizes he just pissed me off, and I'm like, okay, dude. I'm like, you're playing fish. You should know your deck. Why didn't you crack your curse at Snatcher earlier? Like when I first cast it, you didn't give me an opportunity to respond. I'm like, I said Court of Calling, and you didn't say anything, and there was a pause, and you didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Anyway, so like he goes on, and he's like, oh, you give me a chance, you give me a chance, you give me a chance. So I'm like, kid, cool, dude. Then you win. I don't care. I'm gonna go infinite life, and you win. I don't care. We're gonna go to game 2, and then I got land screwed game 2.
Rich can 1v1 a truck,
but not a curse catch.
Not a curse catcher. Right, I can't.
So much salt.
So
nice.
much salt.
Nice.
The salty fish jokes.
Very good.
So, but like, I don't know. Like, I don't get on tilt pretty easily, but I do when people are, when people make me get on tilt. I guess I don't know. Like, so like,
yeah, I don't usually go on tilt, but if somebody
makes
with
me
me
get on tilt, then I get on tilt. Yeah, no, but like.
I
mean, but
I need to make that meme now. I don't usually go on tilt.
But when
I do, I'm full tilted. It's because of them.
It's somebody else.
Yeah, but I just, man, like that's my biggest fear when it comes to Magic is getting on tilt because I hate controversy, and so when anybody's like controversy in my face, I'm just like, you really want to go, punk? But I'm just kind of like, no, I need to. Nope, not worth it. It's a card game, for goodness sake.
I've mentioned it in the past, but my biggest tilt moment was like on a 2-hour sleep night, go play SCG Open, get to round 8, playing against a control player. I have the win on the board, but I don't say my stuff right. And like I made like 4 or 5 mistakes literally in a row to the point they had a judge watching me. And the judge, like, in the middle of the game is like, hey, man, I feel like maybe you've had a bad day. If you need to take a break, that's okay. Like, almost suggesting I should drop from the tournament because, like, I didn't know how to Magic. And at that point, I almost cried like a big man baby. Like,
you're like, I don't want to play Magic, you jerks!
I don't want to go home!
I'm comboing and I can win if you would just let me do the thing.
My wife's bringing me a juice box. It's going to make it all better.
Anyways,
I just need a nap.
I mean, sometimes tilt causes tears, bro. It just happens. Anyways,
and unfortunately, I've seen that before with Magic. Like, and I understand it. Like, I played sports, like, you know, and people do that after games and stuff. Like, you know, but I mean, gosh, dude, tilt. And I hate the people that purposely try to put people on tilt.
Right.
Those are the people I'm like, those are the people that put me
John
on
sort
tilt.
of does that from time to time.
It's different. There's a difference between trolling in like a humorous, like poke prod kind of way, and then there's a way of like I'm shuffling and a card flipped out. Judge, his card flipped out. I now know that he's playing with an island in his deck. Judge, shouldn't he get a game loss? What are you doing, dude? What? This is F&M. Like, what are you doing?
This is not Sparta. We do not chest kick people in the chest.
This is my kitchen table.
This is kitchen table. Yeah,
anyways.
No, it's anyway.
Well, any other scary stories?
I think we've delved deep enough into our world of spooky stories.
Oh, well, I guess there's one last
Okay.
spooky,
Rich is gonna
scary story.
He's gonna scare us all with the final yarn
this is
that he's gonna spin about some scary situations.
Spin, yes. Getting your Magic stuff stolen, man.
That did put me on tilt.
Super sketchy.
Real life tilt.
There's been a lot of this happening, not so much locally, but just in general, like more and more and more. Because I mean, this card game isn't freaking cheap. I mean, like we talk about all the time about card prices and stuff, and I mean, you know, card's $50 times 4. That's $100 just right there. You know, that's a lot of money if it's just sitting in the wall.
He's good at math.
It's even more than we thought.
Really good at math.
$50 times 4. That's $100.
It's even more than before. Look at these card prices skyrocket.
I'm gonna. Yes, mathing is hard.
Did I put you on tilt?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, that's just poking.
Dude,
poke.
50 times 4, yeah, it's $100. Yeah, $200. Gosh, guys,
that's how card prices go up these days.
Shut up. And they drop apparently too. Anyway, sorry. Point being, okay. It's $100 to buy those $200 of cards. Yeah, anyway, not really.
Right.
But what was I saying? So yeah, you think about it, like that's $200 right there, almost. You know what I mean? And like not including your deck boxes or sleeves or even the rest of the cards in your deck. So like, and the backpack that's $10 to $30 or whatever. You know what I mean? So just like be careful, I guess.
And
out
the
there,
juice
you
box
guys.
that's in the backpack.
And the juice
Right.
box. I mean, that's freaking priceless.
No, but it takes
When
my
you're
juice
on
box.
tilt. Right. So just make sure you guys are watching your stuff when you go to GPs and stuff like that. We've heard of a couple different cubes that are worth like around $20,000 getting walked away from Grand Prix and stuff recently, just in the last couple months. So just be careful out there. Be careful on Halloween with the drunk, stupid drivers. You know.
Be
Yeah.
careful with
Be
the drunk
careful.
stupid
Yeah,
drivers.
it's
It's
F&M.
It's on Friday this
It's
year.
F&M Halloween.
And F&M is happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hey, write in or comment if your F&M is doing anything cool for Halloween. We'd like to know
right.
fun ideas.
Now, I think that'd be kind of fun.
Let's
to have
increase
like
fan interaction through
So-
this interesting question.
And wouldn't that be fun to have like an F&M where you had to dress up to be in the F&M?
Like, well, what if they just gave you like free entry, right? Like you could
or
play,
some, yeah.
but if you're like a scarecrow or something awesome, like you get
Yeah.
it free.
If you
Anyways,
dress up like one of the cards.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that's
All right. Let's move along.
That's it. I think.
Combat phase.
Oh yeah.
Combat phase. I actually played some Duels of the Planeswalker this week.
Nice.
And that's it.
Well, how
what
was
did you
it?
play?
It was good. I was playing just a couple rounds, a couple games, but it was fun. I turned on Magic.
Yeah.
I actually played some Magic,
Very cool.
which is more than I can say most weeks, so this is good. Maybe next week I'll even have something else to
So
say.
I actually ended up like trading accidentally into what is it? Eidolon of the Great Rebel. I'm like, this card is good. And you know,
I was there, and you were like, "I hold the Great Rebel. I got it. I got it. I got it."
so I traded into one. Like I'm just hanging out at the shop, right? Like on a Sunday or whatever. And I'm like, oh, sweet. I got an Eidolon of the Great Rebel. He's a pretty good Magic card. And then like I saw somebody else with an Eidolon. I'm like, 2 Eidolons. I'm like halfway there to building Boss Slide because this is like half of the value of the whole deck. Is these stupid sideboard Eidolons. And so I'm like, does anybody have... Hey, you've opened lots of booster packs. I'll buy you coffee and lunch for 4 copies of Monastery Swiftspear. And he's like, sweet, man. That's done. I'm like, sweet. So I got my Swiftspears for Delver in Modern and also, coincidentally, for Boss Sly. And now I've got Eidolons. And then Rich was like, hey, man, I want to trade you some cards. What can I trade you? I'm like... How about a stack of commons and uncommons from behind the desk so that I can play Standard maybe sometimes?
Yeah, you got so ripped off, man.
Yeah, but it was fun.
I'm like, I want this $30 of stuff. Cool. You buy me this $18 of stuff. Are you sure, man? Yeah, dude. I want to play this in Standard. Okay, man.
I want to have a Standard deck so when somebody says, hey, man, want to help me test? I can be like, oh, yeah, I have this thing right here. It's no problem. And, you know, Eidolon, he could go up. Mono Red could keep
basically,
being a really good
Damon
card.
sold out of Standard just to get back into Standard.
I'm
No,
not,
he didn't.
I'm not back in Standard,
not.
quote unquote.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to be back in Standard, quote unquote.
There are no juice box for you.
No juice box for me if I'm back in Standard. No, I'm just like, I have a really cheap, super cheap deck
Well, like now you get your Swiss Spears for your modern
for Delver, which
which
is where the whole journey started.
Yeah.
Journey to Nyx.
I started with the Delver or with the Swift Spears,
And then
I fell off the wagon, guys.
don't worry, Lurgin, I'm also a Grinch with Halloween.
But I just said Grinch, that doesn't really work for Halloween because the Grinch is sort of
'Cause he'd be
someone
like
that would
the
like
I-
Halloween as opposed to Christmas. So
I love Halloween. It has nothing to do with me. I love it. Absolutely love it. I just hate. But every time I go to a party, and they're like, "Where's your costume?" I'm like, "Well, I'm a sociopath. I'm just like everybody else." And they're like, "Ooh, that's deep, man. I'm gonna leave you alone now." Or I'm like, "You really want a birthday suit? Do you want me to be my my Halloween costume? Let's go."
Because Rich's birthday's on Halloween.
My
Get it?
birthday, yeah.
Oh, I thought we were talking about something different. Okay.
No, it's my birthday.
Because it's a
Halloween.
birthday suit.
You know, I got the tuxedo shirt and everything.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That's
Also,
what I-
as
And
far
that's
as
it.
but also for Fight Club or not for Combat Step, we played some sweet Fight Club. If you missed it a little while
yeah,
ago,
it's going up hopefully on Sunday.
Watch
Yeah.
some random us being terrible at Legacy.
Legacy.
So again, to fit our scary Halloween theme, I have no idea how to play Legacy, and we shuffled up some Legacy cards this week, and it was hilariously fun. And the interactions were fun, rich, deep. Well, they were rich, but they were also, deeply satisfying. I felt like I could play Delver versus Maverick, and just smash those two decks at each other for hours and hours and hours and still have fun.
Yeah.
Just keep fighting.
Smash them. This week I played a little bit of Modern. I'm one Liliana the Veil away from my black-green mid-range deck now.
So now all you need to do is just qualify for the real-life PTQ and get the foil promo one, and bam.
So that is my goal, is to hopefully play some more Moderns. I'm actually picking up the stuff for Zoo, because why not?
Because now you got the Goyves, so you might as well.
Yeah, so.
And we have fetches that go with that deck. So.
Yes, yep. So that's what I've been doing, is just getting that in mono black, aggro, and standard, which is so good. It's less than $50 to build. It's awesome.
Honestly, if you don't play with Eidolons or the Singleton Goblin Rabblemaster, the mono red deck, the most expensive card is going to be your deal 4 damage, burn, blast from the burns. Gosh, it has Convoke. Help me out, Rich. It's an uncommon from
Stoke
core
the
set.
Flames?
Stoke the Flames. Stoke the Flames and Monastery's Swift Spear are the most expensive cards in the entire deck.
Yep.
18 Mountains.
Oh, I was gonna say,
it's super cheap.
you know what we never talk about is the F&M promo of the month. Next month is actually gonna be Brain Maggot. The
Ooh.
artwork's really gruesome.
Yeah, I should start showing that
That's
artwork
really,
too, huh?
really, really gruesome. Yeah.
That's a freaky card.
And then
yeah.
Stoke the Flames is gonna be December. So if you were $5 for
Man,
Stoke the Flames, then just play your deck and be good at it and go beat up people at F&M and get some promos.
Chat room, you're awesome. You're right there to
Man,
help us.
chat room knows how to speak the speak I'm trying to speak.
Stoke the Flames and nub.
I'm such a
Yep.
noob.
Okay, so let's move along.
Wait, you say you podcast
are we
about Magic, right?
Are we moving along?
I think so.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Second main phase.
Okay, so in our second main phase, we are. Let me get back to the notes here. I don't know where I put them. Email feedback.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
That was the look of James trying to remember if we've gotten any email feedback.
We did get one, but I don't.
Let us explore
Let's
the feelings and thoughts in James's head as he navigates his computer through the internets. A series of tubes, or a river of knowledge, if you will.
Observe a desk jockey in his natural habitat. He converts caffeine and pizza into software.
You can see the vast number of tabs that he has open.
Oh, you have no idea.
Shows off his ability to multitask.
No email feedback. Thank you very much. There's one, but it hasn't been reviewed yet.
Brought to you by...
It hasn't been reviewed yet.
It was a deck request. It was a request to.
Oh, yes.
It was a request to look at a deck, and then there wasn't a deck attached. So I sent the email back and said, "Where's the deck attachment?" And then I just barely got it back.
That was the deck attachment. There's no deck. Tell me if it's good.
How can I tell you if it's as good? Anyway.
Why do we?
I don't know why I.
Here's the thing. I'm bad at accents. So.
And the only one I'm good at is Sean Connery.
Ah.
Trebek.
They actually, I never heard of that before until last week.
You
They
need to go
showed
look
me
that
all
up.
of the Sean
Yeah.
Connery Trebek Saturday Night Live skits.
Stoke the flames.
The cards.
An album cover for 200 Trebek.
You're Sean Connery showing serious
Sean
Japanese.
Trebek. Terrible.
Trebek-kun.
Wow.
What's the
You're so kawaii.
swords for 400 Trebek. Saber. It begins with an S. So there's a contest. iTunes reviews. You know what, guys? I don't have any. Come on, any of you out there that haven't given us an iTunes review, go and do that. We only have 2 months left in this contest, and we have 35 entries, of which a couple of them are not eligible because they're by Blades. And so there's anyway. Yeah. Go and give us a 5-star review. I don't have any new ones for this week.
Cool beans.
Contest. Oh, that was that. Poll of the week. I don't have a new one, guys. I am lost.
Ooh. I know.
What?
Ready? Halloween theme.
But it's Halloween's over tomorrow.
I guess. If you could eat, because Thanksgiving's next, right?
Okay.
If you could eat any magic creature.
Oh, which
Whoa,
magic
whoa,
creature
whoa,
would you?
whoa.
Which magic creature would
I
you
mean,
like
do you
to
want to
hunt?
eat like a Bailoff, right? Or would you want to eat like a goif? Would you want to eat we could come up with some pretty good ones.
It's kind of like hunting season, and so like if you wanted to go hunting, what would you like to go
Do
hunt?
you want to be the apex predator? What would you hunt?
Right.
All right.
Because we got to put that turkey on the table.
And I'm gonna put write in so you can write in your own.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just the elk, or maybe it would just be like the crab.
Right.
Seafood.
Yeah. Actually, for Christmas Eve, we always have this thing that my wife refers to as Merry Fishmas because we just do a big seafood dinner.
Lurgen's got my back. I'm just Sean Connery from The Hunt for Red October. 'Cause he's trying to do a Russian accent in the whole movie.
Oh, it was terrible.
Gotcha.
That was
Wow.
Okay.
Lurgen's got my back.
So that will be the poll of the week. We do have that. What card would you hunt?
Dawn Treader Elk.
Maybe.
Could be tasty.
Okay.
Is there a turkey in Magic? Or any kind of a fancy bird that would be chubby and
Bird
easy
of
to eat?
paradise.
Yeah, I would eat a bird of paradise. I think that should be an answer, a clickable answer.
Would you crap funny colors for a week?
So, hey, just a quick mention. If any of you want MTGYou,
You are so fast with before this gets tangented.
any of you that want
MTGYou
MTGYou life pads, they're conveniently sized to fit in a deck box. Go ahead and just send an email to mtgyoupodcast@gmail.com, and we'll send some to you for free. Just send us an email with your address, and I will have my goblin lackey send them off. I don't. My son's learning a lot of this stuff to do a lot of the tech stuff for me, and we decided we're going to call him Goblin Lackey.
Instead of intern.
Yeah, because intern just is.
But Goblin Lackey, I mean, because, James, he's the Goblin Rabble
I'm
Master.
the goblin. He's the goblin.
He's the
Lackey.
Goblin Ramble Master.
That's right.
There's some pretty good ideas already. The Beebles. Beebles would be a funny one. Little pink guys. That'd be fun. And then there's a checking egg from Unglued, but I would do the cheese from Unglued.
Ooh.
The cheese stands alone.
Dragon jerky.
I could dig it.
Have you ever had dragon jerky? Doesn't taste like chicken.
But I don't think I
Doesn't
have.
taste like chicken.
Doesn't taste like chicken.
That's fantastic.
App update. I've been working on something at work, so app has taken a back seat for the week. I'm getting back on it, I think, right away. By the way, those of you that registered, thank you. If you have registered, go and register again because I deleted all the user accounts by accident.
You know all that work you put in building your decks? Yeah.
No. There's none of that yet. But if you have registered, go and register again because I did accidentally delete all the user accounts.
This is what it's like to be part of Alpha, guys.
That is.
It's not even in
it
beta
is.
yet.
Yeah.
It's part of Alpha. So
I was messing around and
There's even games in the world that's beta.
Yeah.
yeah. Or it's just Magic Online.
Shots fired.
Yeah. And
It breaks sometimes.
of
That
course,
was the
if you
joke.
want a shout out, send us email. We love getting your emails, guys. Send us an email. We want to hear from you. So, anything else, guys, you can think of this week?
I don't think so. It was all very pleasant.
Yeah. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. There's one other joke.
How do I register?
Or
Go to app.
Dios de Muertos.
app.mtgu.com.
Or All Saints Day.
And
As in November 1?
November
I think
1st,
yeah.
All Saints Day, yeah. App.mtgu.com. It doesn't give you anything else right now, but eventually it will. We have some other things in the plans that we're working on. And believe me, even though it seems like we go slow at these things, we actually, things do happen. Like, for example, when we were
Are you saying things happen behind the scenes that they don't know about?
Yeah. Even though it was, 2 or 3 episodes in, we were saying, hey, maybe someday we'll stream on Twitch. And then months went by.
Yeah.
And now here we are.
And now here we
So
are.
that's what I'm saying. Things do happen eventually.
Yeah.
So, Rich, you had something to say.
I was going to say All Saints Day. That's the Boondock Saints 2 movie.
Oh, that's true.
Oh.
Boondock Saints was a good movie.
The boys need to escape. I don't know when they're making number 3, but they need to make it.
I feel like
Boys
Daryl's
need to
schedule
escape.
is too tied up now.
Yeah, I agree. I believe you.
But I want them to make another one.
It took them 10 years to make number 2.
Right. So maybe they'll be like white-haired guy.
Well, I guess like the director, he's a jerk to work with.
Oh, really?
And it takes tons and tons of money to make their movies, I guess, because it was a cult classic, so they didn't make a whole lot of money with it.
Right. So it's like not a great investment, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't
Sorry,
know.
I digress.
Okay.
In
Here we
shepherds we shall be.
Here we go.
End step.
And I always don't ever get to my screen on
And
time.
I will always end the
And
podcast.
if you want to contact us, you can send email to mtgyoupodcast@gmail.com. Interact with us on Facebook by going to facebook.com/mtgu. Follow us on Twitter @theMTGU. Catch us live on Thursday nights on twitch.tv/mtgu. Subscribe and like us on YouTube. Find us at youtube.com/theMTGU. We're also on Stitcher, which has just recently been bought by another company, by the way, but it's still there. Anyway, so for the MTGYou podcast,
I'm Rich.
I'm Damon.
Blades isn't here, and I'm James. Now we pass the turn to you.
And I'm Blades.
And I'm Blades.
The other
Oh, that was like an opportunity. Okay, next Halloween season, we got to be like, and I'm Batman. Like, and go as, what we dress up
Oh,
as.
yeah. I'm Wolverine.
Have you seen, like, where
College
freaking Wolverine
humor.
does the singing, like, at the Grammys or whatever? Whatever the actor's name is that plays Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. He's actually quite a good singer. And
I think he was in. No, that was what's his nuts in.
he was in Les
Opera.
Mis.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman was
Oh,
in
he
Les
did
Mis,
Les
though.
Mis, yeah.
Yeah.
And he sung.
Anyways, he sang at like the Grammys or Oscars,
Did
or
you know-
not the Grammys because that's music. It was like the Oscars. or
Did you
something.
know
Anyways.
Les Mis that they actually all of the singing was done on set?
Yes.
That they didn't do it outside the
Correct.
set and then put it over voiceover. It was all on set
In fact,
to get like the atmosphere and the feel of the actual play almost.
and then they actually had like music artists, like a pianist or whatever,
playing
play the music so that they could get the correct tempo, and then they brought in the orchestras after the fact and had the orchestral music put in post, like according to the
I actually
tempo and
haven't
movements
seen Les
of.
Mis, except for with Liam Neeson. All his throat chopping action. The movie
Liam Neeson does
Les
throat chopping
Mis?
in Les Mis.
No. It's just if there's an action figure of Liam Neeson anywhere, it's got throat chopping action. Like,
Liam Neeson is pretty awesome though. I mean, he was
And
like
Taken?
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
He's like everybody's Sensei master.
He's in so many different movies.